Hi, this is Stephanie Miller from The Stephanie Miller Show. Please enjoy this exclusive clip from my show on Political Voices Network.
For me, and I voted for Donald Trump last week, it was too bro-tastic. Okay? It was. You're trying to win an election in which you're hemorrhaging female voters. Maybe when you present in front of hundreds, thousands at least, at Madison Square Garden, you clean up the bro talk just a little so you don't alienate women in the middle of America who are already on the fence about Republicans. Do they have no women advising their campaign? Is there no actual woman sitting behind the scenes coming up with the guest lineup and saying, let's just have a word with the guys who are going to be speaking about this isn't the bar. This isn't their living room. This is a campaign. This is politics. We're trying to get him elected. We don't need to rally the base or guys anymore.
He's made this entire party awful. Like just everything we talked about at Madison Square Garden. It wasn't one guy and one joke. It's a whole hate fest over there. And Rachel Coyle was talking about Bernie Moreno, who's running. Please, God, vote for Sherrod Brown. He is such a great senator. But she said, I had to watch this twice. I couldn't believe it the first time. Bernie Moreno's biggest fear about his own daughter being raped is that they could get an abortion without his consent. Yep. He cannot become Ohio senator. Please vote for Sherrod Brown. I mean, and he's the one that said, like, oh, what do menopausal women care about abortion? They have no sense of a society over there anymore, do they?
Can I just say, too, when they get down to it, when they say, why would anyone care who isn't of childbearing age about abortion? This is what happens when you pass abortion bans. Missouri has seen 25% fewer OBGYNs come to practice in our state. So that means any woman, girl, any woman in her 70s has no access to reproductive care or a pap smear, right? We have oncologists who have decided not to come to this state because they can't ethically treat pregnant women. Exactly. So it starts, and oncology, I would think, doesn't vote Republican or Democrat, right, and probably impacts men as well, right?
Right.
That's what these bans actually do. And Josh Hawley and the people like Moreno should keep their mouth shut, honestly, right?
Yeah.
If they are against abortion, they should get a vasectomy or don't impregnate women who don't want to be pregnant. There you go. There's your solution.
And speaking of the Madison Square Garden rally, just like they're just saying everything out loud. I mean, I think we talked about this as Sexy Liberal. Like Claire McCaskill talked about one of the reasons she won is because when her awful right-wing opponent, like, trust me, the party's always been awful. Who was it? Chad Aiken that said, a woman, a legitimate, a woman has bodies, had a way of shutting that down when it's a legitimate rape, as if there's other kinds. But she said it's because his whole party condemned him. Because at least they had the decency, or not decency even, but just the political smarts to go, oh, we better say that's bad in public, right? Now they just, it's all out in the open, right?
It really is. And it's really hard for me because I live in such a small town. I know everybody. I know where everybody lives. And I see the signs come out, right? And so when I drive past a good Christian's house who has, Trump Vance up, it's confusing to everyone. I mean, an adjudicated serial rapist.
Yeah.
And you are putting that sign in front of your house. What is going on?
I mean, don't you? We talked about in 2016 about a hidden vote, and we mentioned this earlier in the show, just that I do think that women are going to be the deciding factor in this race. But we were saying also how sad it is that people have to talk about, like, oh, you don't need to tell anybody who you voted for. In 2024, that, we're admitting women are scared of their, what do you call it? Intimate partners. Like, you can't tell your MAGA husband or boyfriend that you're voting for Kamala, right?
They are. But more than that, I see with the women I know, they know they'll be ostracized from their community, from their church, if they talk about voting for Kamala Harris. So they aren't necessarily keeping it from their husbands, but they're keeping it from the community wide. But I've knocked on doors, and I'm there looking for Jennifer, and Adam answers the door and he refuses to let me speak to her, right? I mean, it happens all the time. Like, I'm not here for you, friend. I'm here for her. And he won't move out of the way and he shuts the door in my face.
Wow. Ay, ay, ay. Misogyny.
Scary.
It's a thing.
Yeah.
It's a thing in 2024. I mean, that's
It is.
what's, we were talking about the whatever state it was that, their literal legal argument was population, that you're, decreasing our population if you don't let, basically
That's
all of
my
our women
state.
and girls be broodmares. Right?
Right. That's my state. My AG signed on to a suit saying that girls 15 to 19 years of age are injuring our state by accessing abortion medication and not reproducing.
Right.
And they were specific about the ages, 15 to 19. Then they went on to say that girls who were in foster care should be forced to reproduce for the state as well. So they're suing mifepristone to keep it from young girls in Missouri.
Yeah, wow. Trump says he wants to treat America's allies like he's a mob boss. Our allies don't pay us money for the protection. The mob makes you pay money. And you retweeted Ruth Ben-Ghiat, the authoritarian scholar, that just said the fact Trump is comparing diplomacy and international relations with allies to arrangements from the world of organized crime tells you that he lives in an authoritarian gangster world, the world of Putin, Kim, and Z. I mean, I don't know, like, as I keep saying, just how many more warnings we can get from how many more people, historians, authoritarian scholars, military people that worked for him. When we're at, he's Hitler, his chief of staff, right? Psychiatrists, mental health professionals, doctors going, oh my God, right?
And it's really hard because Ruth, and I can't pronounce her last name either, and I apologize for that.
Ben-Ghiat.
Thank you. She speaks specifically about strong men. And I was talking to my husband about that, who's a big old, corn-fed country boy. You would judge a book by his cover, and you would be wrong because he's very liberal. But he said, what do you mean strong man? I mean, we look at Trump and we're like he's, the P word. Like,
yes,
he's,
thank you.
Yes. He's not a strong man. He's a wimp. Like, what?
I know.
Weak.
I heard
What do you mean?
some right wing, I forget which one. So he's definitely an alpha male. He's the alpha male. I'm like, are you kidding me? The guy that wears more makeup than.
Yeah, and he's so concerned about his height that he wears lifts and he looks like he's teetering on the edge all the time. Like, this man is not a strong man, but he associates with them, and he is, I think, a go-between, a pass-through to people like Putin, right? And those sorts of things. But to say he's a strong man is always confusing to people like me, because I'm like, dude couldn't buck a bale of hay, that's for sure, right?
I like when you speak country. You're a little bit country. I'm a little bit rock and roll.
Yeah. There you go.
Just a quick question before you go. So if your husband's literally corn-fed, how many corn dishes do you know? Because I love a good cornbread.
I know all the corn dishes. The corn casseroles. I do corn salsa. Like, we do everything corn. We're surrounded in corn.
That's
but
fantastic.
Most of it goes to feed animals. We don't really eat much of it. So.
Oh, dear. Okay.
That's
Well, I love
that's
it.
a talk for another day.
I make really good popcorn. I'm coming. Maybe I'll do election night with you. All right. Love you, Country Mouse. I'll talk to you.
Thanks, Jess.
It's
Jess
so good
Piper.
to talk to you. Bye, friends.
Hey all, Glenn Kirshner here. I hope you'll join me on my new audio podcast, Justice Matters. I'll be using my 30 years as a federal prosecutor and Army JAG to unpack, break down, and explain the legal issues of the day, particularly where the legal intersects with the political. Please look for Justice Matters with Glenn Kirshner wherever you generally get your podcasts.